Journey into the Deaf World, Chapter 10, Bilingual, Bicultural Education for the Deaf. ASL is a communication solution for deaf people because it's their natural language. This is shown by deaf parents teaching their deaf children ASL and fully understanding them. But if they were taught English, they would grow up not fully understanding the language because English is an auditory language. This proves that you must learn ASL before English. The 1965 Bilingual Education Act. It funds programs to help teach minority language students English. They push these educational acts to help equal opportunities to every student. In the minority language classes, teachers use target languages to teach and also teach around the cultural heritage of the students. The main focus is on what language the child uses and not what the parent.
Teachers should teach subjects in the student's natural language. English should be taught with the use of the minority language. And should instruct about students' culture, language, and history. English culture and history should be incorporated as a comparison. The goal is using English as the target language whenever possible. Go. Learning ASL first can actually help the child learn English later. It will give it the access to use their background knowledge to learn English words. This is proved because it helps the child have better English literacy. This is most likely because when the person learns English, they are learning the true English language and not the slang English. It also helps their academic achievement. Having bilingual and biculture with deaf education can help the child's self-esteem too. It gives them a confidence with both the deaf and the hearing. Having the knowledge of the language of everyone around them will help adjust in school better and help them in their class, which will result in having less kids drop out. For deaf people that know English, it gives them a better chance to earn jobs. It also helps improve the respect between deaf and hearing, and the deaf because the child understands both cultures.
During the 1990s, the philosophy of bicultural and bilingual was opposed by many. The United States tried to make English the official language, but it was not approved. However, after that, people tried to force minorities to use English. The deaf people knew that ASL was the best language for them because of past experiences from being forced to speak during the oralism movement.
In order to have a successful Bye-Bye program, the first thing you would need to have is the materials needed for deaf children to be able to learn ASL. The teachers in the program must be able to explain and include things that symbolize deaf jokes, folklore, information about deaf history, and famous deaf people. You would want people specifically from the deaf world to teach about it, specifically people from that minority. All of the mentors have to be able to use ASL to learn English and compare the two. You must know the information before learning new material. You need to always respect the child's language over the parent's language. Have a helpful outlook on helping the child transfer from ASL to English translation using helpful strategies. Help the students understand the difficult ways that English is used, like conversationally and textbook English. Always make connection back to the deaf world for all children.
Parents of deaf children don't learn ASL because they believe it will be too hard. Background knowledge and incidental learning must start at home in order to be successful.
Deaf children that have parents who can communicate with them tend to be less overprotective. This is because if parents cannot communicate with their children, they feel their child cannot get through life without them. They need to protect them from others. Children that have parents who can communicate helps the child have realistic goals because their parents can help the child and teach them as it grows up to have realistic goals. It also helps the child have better social skills. As a child grows up, its first person they will hear and talk to are its parents. If the child and its parents cannot communicate with each other, the child will have a setback in its communication skills. It also helps expose reading to the child. As the child grows up, its parents can read to it, and the kids can get exposed to reading. It connects to words and meanings. It also helps them learn about both their parents and their worn cultural values.